Picture this: waking up each day with an invisible weight pressing against your chest, a silent reminder of the unrelenting pursuit of approval. You smile, you nod, you make yourself small to avoid conflict, all in the name of being nice. Yet, deep inside, there's a gnawing sense of emptiness, an aching disconnect between the person you project and the person you are. This facade of endless agreeableness is celebrated by society, but what if it's not a virtue? What if it's a quiet, insidious trap? Niceness, far from being a badge of honor, can become a prison, one that locks away your true potential, your strength, and your authenticity. It lures you in with promises of harmony and acceptance, only to chain you to the expectations of others. Consider those moments when you swallowed your truth to keep the peace, or when you diluted your ambitions to fit into someone else's vision of who you should be. The cost of this self-erasure is profound. It leaves you fragmented, restless, and yearning for a life where your actions align with your deepest values. Stoic philosophy, rooted in the wisdom of ancient thinkers like Seneca and Epictetus, offers a bold and transformative perspective. It challenges the myth that niceness equates to goodness, urging us instead to pursue authenticity, self-respect, and inner strength. Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power, Seneca once declared, a statement that cuts to the heart of the human condition. True freedom lies not in pleasing others, but in mastering yourself. This is not a call to abandon kindness or compassion, but an invitation to redefine them. True kindness flows from a place of strength, not subservience. It is the courage to speak your truth, to set boundaries, and to live unapologetically in alignment with your values. This journey may be uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. The shackles of niceness can be broken, and in their place, you will find a life of resilience, authenticity, and purpose. So, as you stand at this crossroads, ask yourself, are you ready to step out of the shadows of niceness and into the light of your true self? The path may be challenging, but it is also the only path that leads to lasting fulfillment and strength. The Stoics remind us that the choice is ours, and with it comes the power to transform our lives. Chapter 1. The Origins of Niceness. To understand the roots of niceness, we must travel back to the earliest moments of our conditioning. From childhood, we are taught that being agreeable is the cornerstone of good character. When we shared a toy or apologized for speaking out of turn, we were met with warm smiles, praise, and a reassuring sense of belonging. Over time, this conditioning ingrained a simple but flawed equation in our minds. Niceness equals acceptance, and acceptance equals worth. But what if this foundation, so often reinforced by well-meaning families, educators, and society at large, is fundamentally misaligned with the path to personal authenticity and fulfillment? In the cocoon of family life, the seeds of niceness are often sown with the best intentions. Parents praise compliance and discourage rebellion, labeling assertive children as difficult or stubborn. Yet these seemingly small moments teach us to suppress our true feelings to avoid discomfort or conflict. We learn that harmony is paramount, even at the expense of our individuality. This dynamic, while comforting in the short term, can lead to a deep and enduring fear of rejection. By adulthood, many of us carry this fear as a silent weight, shaping our actions and decisions in ways that distance us from our authentic selves. The educational system only deepens this conditioning. Schools, designed to instill order, often prioritize conformity over creativity. Rules about raising hands, waiting to speak, and following instructions without question subtly enforce the notion that fitting in is more important than standing out. Teachers, much like parents, reward the quiet and compliant, reinforcing the belief that niceness is synonymous with goodness. But in this process, the sparks of individuality and assertiveness, qualities essential to living a life of authenticity, are often dimmed. Society amplifies these lessons through relentless messaging that niceness is the ultimate virtue. Popular culture celebrates the lovable, self-sacrificing characters while casting assertive ones as antagonists. Social norms demand politeness even when it's at odds with honesty, teaching us to prioritize being liked over being respected. But this societal script is a trap, one that keeps us tethered to a cycle of external validation while neglecting the cultivation of inner strength. The Stoics saw the danger in this conditioning long before modern psychology gave it a name. Seneca cautioned against living for the approval of others, emphasizing that true fulfillment comes from aligning with one's values, not from meeting external expectations. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, he wrote, but because we do not dare that they are difficult. This challenge, to dare to live authentically, requires breaking free from the roots of niceness, confronting the fears that bind us, and reclaiming the courage to be our true selves. Breaking free is not an act of rebellion against kindness itself, but a redefinition of what it means to live with integrity. Niceness, when it masks our authenticity, becomes a barrier to the deeper virtues of self-respect and resilience. By understanding the origins of our conditioning, we can begin to unlearn these deeply ingrained patterns, clearing the way for a life rooted in authenticity and guided by timeless Stoic wisdom. Chapter 2. The Hidden Costs of Niceness. The price of perpetual niceness is far higher than we often realize. What begins as a seemingly virtuous habit, sacrificing personal needs for the comfort of others, slowly corrodes our emotional, mental, and even physical well-being. Beneath the surface of this agreeable demeanor lies a quiet despair, a sense of disconnection from one's true self. Over time, this self-sacrifice chips away at our identity, leaving us unfulfilled, resentful, and drained. To live a life tethered to the expectations of others is to surrender the freedom of authenticity, and the consequences of this surrender are profound. Constant niceness demands an extraordinary amount of emotional labor. Each time we suppress our true feelings to avoid conflict or seek approval, we deplete our emotional reserves. Over time, this facade becomes exhausting to maintain, leading to what modern psychology calls emotional burnout. This isn't just about feeling tired. It's a deep, unrelenting exhaustion that affects every corner of life. The effort to keep the peace becomes a heavy burden, making it harder to focus, to find joy in activities we once loved, or to pursue meaningful goals. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned, it is not things themselves that trouble us, but our judgments about them. The constant judgment to be agreeable, to conform, leaves us trapped in a cycle of stress and discontent. Resentment inevitably follows. When we consistently put others' needs above our own, an invisible tally begins to grow, a record of every moment we felt unseen, unheard, or unappreciated. This resentment doesn't always show itself openly. Instead, it simmers beneath the surface, manifesting as passive aggressiveness, bitterness, or an underlying anger that strains relationships. The Stoics were clear about the dangers of such emotions. Seneca wrote, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." By prioritizing niceness over authenticity, we unwittingly invite resentment into our lives, poisoning our relationships and eroding our self-esteem. But perhaps the most insidious cost of niceness is the gradual erosion of our identity. When we mold ourselves to fit the expectations of others, we lose touch with who we truly are. This disconnection from our inner values and desires creates a deep sense of emptiness. Decisions become harder to make because we no longer trust ourselves to know what we want. Our goals become murky, our priorities blurred, as we drift further away from the clarity that comes with living in alignment with our true selves. The questions, "Who am I?" becomes a haunting refrain in the quiet moments of life, and answering it feels impossible when the authentic self has been buried under years of self-neglect. The Stoics understood the danger of losing oneself in the pursuit of others' approval. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If our thoughts are dominated by the need to appease and conform, we dye our soul in shades of fear and insecurity. Niceness, when taken to this extreme, is not a virtue but a mask that hides the vibrant colors of authenticity and self-respect. To reclaim ourselves, we must confront these costs with courage and intention. Recognizing the toll that niceness takes is the first step toward breaking free. It is not a rejection of kindness but a commitment to living authentically, a commitment to respecting both ourselves and others in equal measure. True strength, as the Stoics teach, comes not from how others perceive us, but from how deeply we align with our own principles. Chapter 3. The Power of Authenticity. Authenticity is a rare and powerful virtue in a world that often rewards conformity. To live authentically is to embrace who you truly are, unshackled by the expectations of others. Yet, authenticity requires more than just a passive acknowledgement of your true self. It demands courage, introspection, and a commitment to living in alignment with your deepest values. It is not about rejecting kindness or respect for others. Rather, it is about rejecting the notion that you must compromise your integrity to gain approval. Authenticity is the foundation of self-respect, and with it comes a life of genuine fulfillment and strength. Embracing authenticity begins with self-awareness. This is not a casual glance at your thoughts or actions, but a deliberate and often uncomfortable exploration of your inner world. It requires you to ask hard questions. What do I truly value? What fears are holding me back? Where am I compromising my principles to avoid conflict? The Stoics taught that clarity about the self is essential for living a virtuous life. Seneca, for instance, emphasized the importance of examining one's actions daily, urging us to reflect on where we have strayed from our values and how we can course correct. If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable, he wrote. Authenticity begins with knowing your destination, your true self. But knowing yourself is not enough. Authenticity also requires self-acceptance. This means embracing your imperfections with the same compassion you extend to others. Too often, we hold ourselves to impossible standards, believing that flaws make us unworthy. Yet, these imperfections are what make us human. Self-acceptance does not mean complacency. It is not about ignoring areas for growth, but rather acknowledging that you are a work in progress and that this is enough. When you accept yourself, you free yourself from the relentless pursuit of external validation and create space for true growth. Setting boundaries is another essential element of living authentically. Boundaries are not walls that isolate us, but bridges that define the terms of healthy relationships. They are an assertion of your values and a declaration of self-respect. Saying no when necessary, protecting your emotional well-being, and standing firm in your principles are not acts of selfishness but of courage. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus taught that we must distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. Setting boundaries is an act of controlling what you can, your own actions and responses, while letting go of the need to manage how others perceive you. Ultimately, living authentically means aligning your actions with your values. This alignment creates a profound sense of inner peace and fulfillment, even in the face of external challenges. Marcus Aurelius reminded us in Meditations that true happiness comes from living in accordance with one's principles, not from seeking approval or avoiding discomfort. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be, he wrote. Be one. Authenticity calls us to stop performing goodness for others and instead embody our values with integrity and quiet strength. To live authentically is to reclaim your power. It is to step out of the shadows of societal expectations and into the light of your true self. This journey requires courage, as the road to authenticity often leads through discomfort and conflict. But it is on this path that you will find the freedom and fulfillment that come from living a life aligned with your deepest values. Authenticity is not just an antidote to the constraints of niceness. It is the key to a life of meaning, purpose, and unshakable strength. Chapter 4. The Strength of Assertiveness. Assertiveness is often misunderstood. Many equate it with aggression, imagining it as a forceful imposition of one's will over others. But true assertiveness is far from confrontational. It is the ability to express your thoughts, feelings, and needs with clarity and respect, all while standing firm in your values. Assertiveness is not about overpowering others, but about refusing to be overpowered by the expectations, assumptions, or demands that compromise your authenticity. It is a skill, a strength, and, above all, an essential component of living a life guided by integrity and self-respect. At its core, assertiveness begins with communication, direct, honest, and respectful. It is the ability to articulate your needs and boundaries without fear of rejection or disapproval. This requires confidence, but it also requires empathy. To communicate assertively is to balance clarity with compassion, ensuring that your message is understood without alienating others. Epictetus reminds us that it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Assertiveness, in this light, is a deliberate reaction, one rooted in reason and guided by principles, rather than impulsive emotions or the need for validation. One of the greatest barriers to assertiveness is the fear of conflict. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that conflict is inherently negative, a disruption to be avoided at all costs. But conflict, when approached with a Stoic mindset, is not an obstacle but an opportunity. It is a chance to clarify misunderstandings, strengthen relationships, and reinforce personal boundaries. Marcus Aurelius taught that obstacles can become pathways. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. By embracing conflict as a natural part of human interaction, we strip it of its power to intimidate us. Assertiveness, then, becomes a tool for growth rather than a source of discomfort. Assertiveness also requires the cultivation of confidence, a belief in your worth and the validity of your needs. Confidence does not mean arrogance or an inflated sense of self. It means recognizing your intrinsic value and trusting yourself to navigate challenges with strength and grace. Building this confidence takes time and intentional effort. It involves acknowledging your achievements, learning from setbacks, and consistently aligning your actions with your values. Confidence is the foundation upon which assertiveness is built, allowing you to stand firm without becoming defensive or aggressive. Finally, assertiveness is about action. It is not enough to know your boundaries or to understand your values. You must actively assert them in your daily life. This might mean saying no to demands that drain your energy, expressing your opinion even when it is unpopular, or addressing behavior that undermines your self-respect. The Stoics emphasize the importance of action as the truest expression of virtue. Aristotle's concept of the golden mean, a balance between deficiency and excess, captures the essence of assertiveness, the middle ground between passivity and aggression. To act assertively is to embody this balance, navigating life with both strength and grace. To be assertive is to reclaim your voice. It is to speak and act in alignment with your truth, even when it is uncomfortable or challenging. This journey requires resilience, confidence, and the willingness to confront your fears. But through assertiveness, you gain something invaluable: the ability to live authentically, to connect deeply with others, and to navigate life's complexities with clarity and strength. The Stoics remind us that true power comes not from controlling others, but from mastering ourselves. Assertiveness is the manifestation of this mastery, a strength that liberates us from the constraints of fear and conformity, allowing us to live with purpose and integrity. Chapter 5. The Journey of Self-Discovery. Self-discovery is not merely an introspective exercise. It is a transformative journey that reshapes the way we live, think, and interact with the world. It is the process of peeling back the layers of societal expectations, conditioned behaviors, and inherited fears to uncover the essence of who we truly are. This journey demands courage and introspection, for it requires us to confront uncomfortable truths and embrace change. Yet, it is in this process of self-discovery that we find the clarity and strength needed to live authentically and purposefully. Introspection is the first step on this path. The Stoics, particularly Seneca, emphasized the importance of reflection as a daily practice. In his writings, he urged us to examine our actions, thoughts, and motives, asking whether they align with our values. This kind of self-inquiry is not about self-criticism but about self-awareness. It involves asking questions like, what do I value most? What drives my decisions? Where am I compromising my principles? These questions help us uncover the patterns that govern our lives, both those that serve us and those that hold us back. Without introspection, we remain strangers to ourselves, guided not by conscious choice, but by unconscious conditioning. Reflection deepens this process, allowing us to learn from past experiences and adjust our course. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on his actions and the lessons they taught him. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, he wrote. Reflection helps us see our role in shaping our lives, reminding us that while we cannot control external circumstances, we can control how we respond to them. By reflecting on our triumphs and failures alike, we gain wisdom and cultivate resilience, moving closer to our authentic selves. Embracing change is perhaps the most challenging aspect of self-discovery. Humans are creatures of habit, often clinging to the familiar even when it no longer serves us. But growth requires us to step outside our comfort zones and let go of old beliefs, behaviors, and relationships that hinder our progress. The Stoics viewed change not as a threat, but as an essential part of life. Epictetus taught, "It is not the things themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about these things." To embrace change, we must first challenge the judgments that make it seem frightening or undesirable. Change is the gateway to transformation, and by accepting it, we open ourselves to new possibilities and perspectives. Personal growth is the culmination of self-discovery. It is the process of setting goals that align with our values and taking deliberate steps toward achieving them. This growth is not linear. It is marked by setbacks and challenges that test our resolve. Yet, every step forward, no matter how small, brings us closer to the person we are meant to be. Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, or flourishing, reminds us that a meaningful life is one in which we strive to fulfill our potential while living in harmony with our principles. Personal growth is not about perfection but about progress, an ongoing commitment to becoming the best version of ourselves. The journey of self-discovery is not for the faint of heart. It demands that we face our fears, challenge our assumptions, and take responsibility for our lives. But it is a journey that leads to unparalleled freedom and fulfillment. As Socrates famously said, "Know thyself." In knowing ourselves, we gain the power to shape our destiny, to live authentically, and to find lasting peace. The path may be arduous, but it is also the most rewarding journey we can undertake, a journey toward becoming who we truly are. Chapter 6. Cultivating Inner Strength. Inner strength is not an innate gift bestowed upon a fortunate few. It is a cultivated quality, forged through deliberate effort and self-mastery. It is the quiet resilience that allows us to weather life's storms, the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing our worth, and the sense of purpose that anchors us in the chaos of the world. Cultivating inner strength is an essential step in breaking free from the constraints of niceness and reclaiming the power to live authentically. At the heart of inner strength lies resilience, the ability to adapt to adversity and grow stronger through challenges. Life is unpredictable, filled with setbacks and hardships that test our resolve. The Stoics understood this reality deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Resilience begins with this recognition. While we cannot control external circumstances, we can control our responses to them. By reframing difficulties as opportunities for growth, we transform obstacles into stepping stones. Resilience is not about avoiding pain, but about facing it with courage and emerging stronger on the other side. Developing self-confidence is another pillar of inner strength. Confidence is not arrogance. It is the quiet assurance that you are capable and deserving of a life aligned with your values. Building self-confidence requires a shift in focus from external validation to internal acknowledgement. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, and recognize the progress you've made. Reflect on your strengths and use them to navigate challenges. The Stoics remind us that confidence comes from living in harmony with our principles. As Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. True confidence arises when we take ownership of our lives and trust in our ability to face whatever comes our way. Finding purpose and meaning is perhaps the most profound aspect of cultivating inner strength. Purpose gives us direction and motivation, while meaning provides the foundation for a fulfilled life. To discover your purpose, reflect on your values, passions, and aspirations. What drives you? What contributions do you wish to make to the world? Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, living a life of flourishing, emphasizes the importance of aligning your actions with your highest ideals. By living according to your purpose, you create a sense of fulfillment that transcends momentary pleasures and external achievements. Inner strength also requires the development of healthy coping mechanisms. Life's challenges can be overwhelming, but practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and self-care provide the tools to maintain balance. Mindfulness helps us stay present, reducing the anxiety of dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Meditation cultivates a sense of inner calm, enabling us to approach problems with clarity and composure. Self-care, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, replenishes our energy and keeps us grounded. These practices are not luxuries but necessities, fortifying our inner strength and preparing us for the demands of life. The cultivation of inner strength is a lifelong journey, one that requires intention, patience, and perseverance. It is the process of building a foundation that can withstand the trials of existence, a foundation rooted in resilience, confidence, and purpose. The Stoics remind us that true strength comes from within. By focusing on what we can control, aligning our actions with our values, and embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, we unlock the power to live authentically and fulfill our potential. Inner strength is not a destination but a way of being, a quiet force that empowers us to face life with courage, clarity, and conviction. It is the antidote to fear, the shield against adversity, and the compass that guides us toward a life of authenticity and fulfillment. To cultivate inner strength is to reclaim the essence of who we are and to live with unyielding purpose and integrity. Conclusion. The journey to overcome the constraints of niceness and embrace your authentic self is not a simple path, but it is a necessary one. It requires courage to unlearn the conditioning that has kept you confined, self-awareness to recognize where you've compromised your values, and resilience to face the discomfort of transformation. Yet, in breaking free from this prison, you reclaim the life that was always meant to be yours, a life of integrity, strength, and purpose. The Stoics remind us that true freedom is not about external circumstances, but about mastering the self. Marcus Aurelius encouraged us to waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This is the ultimate call to action. Stop seeking validation from others and start living in alignment with your principles. The time to begin this journey is now, because every step you take toward authenticity brings you closer to the life you deserve. A life where your voice matters, your values guide you, and your strength inspires others. But this journey is not one you have to take alone. By exploring the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and ancient philosophy, you join a community of seekers, individuals who, like you, are striving to grow, to learn, and to live more authentically. Together, we can navigate the challenges, share insights, and support one another in becoming the best versions of ourselves. If this resonates with you, take the next step and join us. Subscribe to our channel to continue exploring the principles of Stoicism, self-mastery, and personal growth. Each video is crafted to guide and inspire you, offering practical wisdom and transformative insights for your journey. By subscribing, you become part of a community dedicated to living with intention, resilience, and authenticity. Your journey toward a life of strength and fulfillment begins with a single choice. Choose to reclaim your power. Choose to embrace your true self. Choose to take the first step today. And remember, the path may not be easy, but it is always worth it. Let's walk this journey together. Subscribe now, and let's embark on the road to true freedom and inner strength.